Welcome back to Aussie Money Guide, your trusted source for making smart financial decisions in Australia. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the Australian property market. Whether you're looking to rent your first flat or planning to buy your own home someday, this video is going to walk you through everything, step by step, no jargon, no confusion. Stay till the end because we've got a powerful tip that most newcomers never find out until it's too late. Let's go. First, let's understand what we're dealing with. Australia has one of the most expensive property markets in the world. Yes, you heard that right. Cities like Sydney and Melbourne regularly rank among the top 10 least affordable cities globally for housing. But here's what's interesting. Australia is a big country, and property prices vary enormously depending on where you are. Let's break it down. Major cities at a glance. Sydney, the most expensive market, average house price over $1.3 million AUD. Renting a two-bedroom apartment in the inner city can cost $700 to $1,000 per week. Melbourne, slightly more affordable. Average house prices around $900K, $1. Good rental supply, but demand is high. Brisbane and Adelaide, more affordable, growing rapidly. Many interstate migrants are moving here. Perth, good value for money, especially if you work in mining or resources. Regional Australia, much cheaper, but fewer jobs, services, and amenities. So, whether you're a student living in a share house in Parramatta, a skilled migrant renting in the eastern suburbs, or a permanent resident slowly planning to buy, the path starts the same way, and that path begins with renting. Renting in Australia, the complete guide. Visuals of real estate apps, lease documents, suburb streets. Renting in Australia is not like renting back home for most of us. There are specific rules, legal rights, and processes, and if you don't know them, you can easily get taken advantage of. Let's fix that right now. Finding a rental property. The two main websites you'll use are realestate.com.au and domain.com.au. These are the most popular property listing platforms in the country. You can filter by location, price, number of bedrooms, and more. When you find a property you like, you'll need to attend an inspection. This is usually a short open home session, sometimes just 15 minutes. You walk through the property, check everything, and if you like it, you apply. Applying for a rental. Rental applications in Australia are competitive, especially in major cities. You'll be competing against other applicants. Here's what landlords and property managers look for: proof of income, pay slips or bank statements, a copy of your ID, passport or driver's license, rental history, references from previous landlords, even from overseas, and a personal statement, briefly explaining who you are and why you'd be a great tenant. PRO tip: use apps like OneForm or Snug to create a digital rental profile. This makes applying to multiple properties fast and easy. It shows agents you're organized and serious. Bond and rent in advance. Host: once you're approved, you'll need to pay a rental bond, usually equivalent to 4 weeks of rent, plus 2 weeks' rent in advance. This is normal. The bond is held by your state's Fair Trading Authority, not by the landlord, and you get it back when you leave, as long as the property is in good condition. Your lease agreement. You'll sign a lease, usually 6 months or 12 months. Read this document carefully. It outlines your rights and responsibilities. Things like what you can and can't do in the property, how much notice you need to give before leaving, and the process for repairs and maintenance. Know your rights. As a tenant in Australia, you have strong legal protections. Your landlord cannot enter the property without proper notice, usually 24 hours. They are responsible for major repairs. If things go wrong, you can contact your state's Fair Trading or Tenancy Authority for free help. Smart renting, managing your housing budget, animated budget charts, and expense breakdowns on screen. Now let's talk money. Housing is your biggest expense in Australia, and it can break your budget if you're not careful. The 30% rule. Host: A basic principle of financial health is that you should spend no more than 30% of your gross income on rent. So if you earn $5,000 a month before tax, your rent should ideally be no more than $1,500 a month or around $346 per week. In reality, many Australians, especially in Sydney and Melbourne, are paying 35, 40, even 50% of their income on rent. This is called rental stress, and it's a real problem. That's why budgeting is critical. Ways to reduce rental costs. Share housing, split rent with housemates, very common among students and young professionals. Move slightly further from the CBD. Train and bus networks are solid in most cities. Living 20-30 minutes from the city can save you $100-200 per week. Negotiate rent. Yes, this is possible, especially if a property has been vacant for a while. Politely ask. Look for all-inclusive rentals. Some rentals include electricity, internet, and gas. These can save you $100-150 a month. The journey to buying property in Australia, visuals of house keys, bank meeting, open for inspection sign. Now, let's talk about the dream, owning your own home. For many migrants and newcomers, property ownership is a major life goal, and Australia absolutely offers that opportunity, but it requires planning, patience, and understanding of the process. Your deposit. To buy a home in Australia, you typically need a minimum deposit of 20% of the purchase price. On a $700,000 property, that's $140,000. If your deposit is less than 20%, you'll likely need to pay lender's mortgage insurance, or LMI, which can add thousands to your costs. However, there are government schemes that can help, which I'll mention shortly, getting pre-approved for a home loan. Before you start house hunting seriously, you should get a pre-approval from a bank or mortgage broker. This tells you exactly how much you can borrow. Banks will assess your income, expenses, credit history, and employment stability. Having a stable Australian income for at least 6 to 12 months significantly improves your chances. Researching the market. Use websites like realestate.com.au, domain.com.au, and CoreLogic to research property prices in areas you're interested in. Look at median prices, growth trends, proximity to schools, transport, and employment. Don't just buy where it's cheap, buy where there's long-term value. Making and offer properties in Australia are sold in one of two ways: private treaty, where you negotiate a price directly, or auction, which is very common in Sydney and Melbourne. Auctions can feel intense and fast-paced. If you're new to them, attend a few as an observer before bidding yourself. Conveyancing and settlement. Once your offer is accepted, you'll need a conveyancer or solicitor to handle the legal transfer of the property. This typically costs $1,500 to $3,000. Settlement usually happens 30 to 90 days after the contract is signed, and on settlement day, the property officially becomes yours. Government grants and schemes for first home buyers. Australian government website screenshots and scheme infographics. Here's where it gets exciting, especially for first home buyers. The Australian government offers several programs to make buying your first home more affordable. Key government schemes. First Homeowner Grant, FHOG. A one-time grant of up to $10,000 to $30,000 depending on your state for buying or building a new home, available to Australian citizens and permanent residents. First Home Guarantee, previously FHLDS. Allows eligible buyers to purchase a home with just a 5% deposit without paying LMI. The government guarantees the rest. Help to Buy scheme. The government co-purchases with you, covering up to 40% of the home price, reducing your loan and repayments significantly. Stamp duty concessions. Many states offer stamp duty exemptions or reductions for first home buyers. In New South Wales, first home buyers purchasing properties under $800,000 are fully exempt from stamp duty. These schemes can save you tens of thousands of dollars. Make sure you visit the official government website, nhfic.gov.au, or speak with a licensed mortgage broker to find out which schemes you qualify for. Scams and red flags to watch out for. Warning graphics, lock icons, red flags on screen. Now, a critical section. The property rental space in Australia has its share of scammers, especially targeting new migrants and international students who may not know the local norms. Here are the red flags to watch for. Scam alert. Never pay rent or a bond to someone you haven't met or before signing a proper lease. If someone asks for payment via Bitcoin, gift cards, or overseas wire transfers, walk away immediately. Scam alert. If a listing looks too good to be true, a beautiful apartment for $200 per week in inner Sydney, it's almost certainly fake. Scammers copy real listings and post them at impossible prices. Scam alert. Always verify the agent is registered. In Australia, real estate agents must hold a valid license. Check with your state's licensing authority online. Always inspect a property in person before paying anything. And use legitimate platforms like realestate.com.au or domain.com.au, not random Facebook posts or private listings from strangers. Let's wrap this up. Whether you're just arriving in Australia or you've been here for a few years already, the property journey is real, it's achievable, but it requires knowledge and strategy. To recap, start by renting smart, know your rights, budget the 30% rule, and always read your lease. If buying is your goal, start saving early, understand the grants and schemes available to you, and get professional advice from a licensed mortgage broker. And always, always watch out for scams. Australia is one of the best countries in the world to build a life. And owning property here is more achievable than many people think, if you plan wisely. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to Aussie Money Guide, and share this with someone who just moved to Australia and needs to see this. Drop your questions in the comments below. I read every single one. Until next time, keep your money smart, keep your future bright. See you in the next video.